Hello and welcome to the episode 14. Wow, episode 14 of the Beatdown Bandits podcast. I am Colin, and it's just me today. We did not get a chance to record this week. Just a couple, well, not technical difficulties, but just difficulties of getting everybody together. So I'm just recording it kind of solo today, just to kind of get one out, and make sure we're getting episodes out in a timely manner. So today's episode will be pretty short and sweet, but I do have an interesting topic, and I want to explain it first. So it's the topic for today is not real questions. I never changed my board back here, but it's games that are too intimidating to play, or at least for myself, of like something like I just don't want to get into, and don't want to like jump into and basically games that are too complicated. Now this is not scary games, although it can be like horror games and games that are too scary. I know a lot of people who don't want to jump into things like Resident Evil or Outlast or Silent Hill, games like that. They don't want to jump into those because they're intimidated by it in a different way of that being too scary. So my thought process is that it's just something you don't want to get into, or you know the game is too challenging, it's going to take too long, things like that. So I know like there's people who don't want to jump into like GTA or Red Dead, things like that, because the games I like Assassin's Creed games. Sometimes those like big giant open world games take a long time because there's a lot of things to do and it might be too overwhelming, and you want something a little more simple and a little more platform-esque, where it's not so spread out and there's not overloaded with things to do and see. So I get that. So here's just I have like a list of 1, 2, 3, like 5 things. So these are the ones that I just kind of came up with off the top of my head. Most of which are fairly recent, or at least have kind of come back up and being talked about. First of which is which to me was the most obvious, that I have no desire to get into, is the Dark Souls series. I had a friend that talked about it all the time and loved doing it, and then would get on Twitch streams and try to help people like get through it and do all this stuff. But a game like that where you can die in one hit, there's no map, it's such a cluster. And super complicated. I feel like I would just get like way too stressed from that. And it's just, you know, a lot of those type of games anyway, like I don't want, or just I don't have a desire to play. On the similar line of, you know, kind of nights and things like that is Skyrim. That is something like obviously everybody was talking about it, and there's a big following behind Skyrim. And so I'm like, okay, well, I have to do this. I got it. I played it for maybe 2 days, like maybe like a grand total of 3 or 4 hours, and it just wasn't for me. It was just a lot of management, a lot of, I don't know. It just wasn't for me. Kind of on the same lines of like a Fallout, or what was the other one? Like a State of Decay. Like it was just I felt like it was just a lot of management, and that's not enjoyable for me in a video game. So so those were things that I just tried to avoid. So yeah, Skyrim, you know, Fallout and State of Decay weren't on my list, but those are just kind of similar type things on that line. Next on my list is the Super Mario Maker. While I know, and I've definitely seen levels that are kind of fun and creative or whatever, there are some videos that I've seen that are just absolutely insane, and that's one of those things where I would probably start it and play for about 5 to 10 minutes and say, nope, I'm done. So there's no way I would get super involved and too deep into that game. It's just there's some crazy levels out there, and people spend like a lot of time on that. So yeah, no Super Mario Maker for me. Thank you very much. Devil May Cry, I think 5 is the latest one. Probably it's kind of like more similar to Dark Souls. I know like the boss fights or whatever are very challenging, and I've seen a lot of videos on it. I think actually like right now it's on like Xbox Game Pass, and I debated about even just like getting it, but I know like there are plenty of games where I've downloaded I'm just never gonna play. Like Dauntless is another one that I think is one of those games that's probably just too intimidating right now to just play unless I'm playing with a group of people. I know I'm pretty sure you can do that solo to try to take on, I think just call them monsters in Dauntless, but you know, take those on. But nope, not for me. And Devil May Cry, I've seen a lot of like the boss fights, and those are nuts. So last on my list is something like I had a big passion to want to play because of the description and the I think just the impact or whatever, and the I don't know, I'm struggling with the correct word that I want to use, but all the hype, that's basically it. So all the hype around it, with how massive it was, is No Man's Sky. And I know it was a letdown for how built up and how much hype it had, but No Man's Sky, I bought and was very excited to play, and I think I probably played it for 2 days. One of those ones where it's just like, nope, this is too much. Like, I just wanted to be able to have my ship and go. And just explore. It was not as much of like an exploration game as it was almost like a survival and crafting and resource gathering game. Like it was like a Minecraft in space, and that's actually exactly what it is the space version of Minecraft, because you're literally sorry, sports alert. So there's you know, like I said, it's Minecraft in space, and I mean, you can literally, you know, build space stations and basically homes on different planets and stuff. And so I did a little bit of exploring once I actually had a ship and stuff, but not anywhere near as much as I wanted to, and it was not quite as fun. But with how massive it is, I can see a lot of people just saying no. But it took too long to get going, and it was way too complicated to have to try to dig for resources and stuff like that, and it was just, yeah, a disappointment. And right now, like, I would love to kind of get back into it because I know there's been some updates, and there's kind of a rebuilt hype to it, and yeah, it's just one of those things, I guess. Like right now I'm like, you know, intimidated, maybe not quite as much, but just I don't want to do it. It's just not for me, and there's a lot of stuff that you have to do to really get going. So yeah, in a way, it's intimidating to just go and do what you want to do in it. So, all right, well, that is it. I will let everybody comment whatever games they're intimidated. Remember, it's not necessarily something like you're too scared to play it, although it can be. I mean, those games are definitely intimidating in a different sense. But just games that are just they're too much for you to even want to bother with. So yeah, feel free to share those and comment about those. But that's it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care. Later.